Hi everyone, good morning. This is Rena. Welcome to the Mama Elephant April release. Remember, the release drops on April 15th. Also, make sure you comment on the videos for the April release. There's a video April 11th through April 14th. Mama Elephant will select a random comment and that person will win a stamp set from Mama Elephant. Today we have a fun stamp set. Koalas again. This is Little Koala Agenda. I think the set would be so fun to pair up with yesterday's stamp set, Koala Hugs. My favorite one is the third row, third one. I love that little branch and I love how they're just hanging out and just looking super cute. Here is a look at the coordinating dies for Little Koala Agenda. Also is a new cover die. This is Leafy Cover Creative Cuts, and it cuts out a leafy outline around your card. Also on the inside, there are two separate dies that cut out two clusters of leaves that you can use to decorate your scene. I'll be coloring the Little Koala Agenda today using Copic markers, and I'll put the Copic marker colors I'm using down below. But for the main fur, I'm going to use E70, E71, and E74, R20 for the blush, also using YG23 for leaves, WOO for the white parts, just so it has a little bit of shading, and E27 for the branches. The pops of red will be RV29. I wanted to use a cool tone red because I'm using a cool tone brown. So whenever I stamp these out, I literally take the whole sheet of stamps and I washi tape it onto the cover of my stamp positioning tool. It just makes it easier to put away because it's already on the stamp sheet. So I started off with the body, and these are small images, so personally I don't worry too much about shading. I just kind of pick a side and I'll color that side a dark color and I'll blend out with a medium color, and that's good enough for me. Also, I'm going to finish off with the R20 and I'm adding in some blush, and then I'm just adding in some shading with the pink in areas that I think, might look cute, like their little bellies or maybe their feet if it's showing. I don't know if koalas eat eucalyptus. I don't know if that's what the branches are holding, but for the leaves, I'm using YG23 and then just doing the different pops of red. I wanted to use the same colors. I like to keep the colors like a consistent palette, so all of the accessory pieces are going to be that cool tone red color. After I finish coloring up these images, I will use the coordinating dies to cut them out, and I love how they look after you cut them out and they're all together ready to use. Here's a look at the Leafy cover die, and it's really nice because the leaf detail has a shine mark, and so there's a little hole where the shine mark is, and I think that adds a really nice bit of dimension. You can see that there's two separate die cuts there, and you can use them to accent your card, or you don't have to use them either if you want that middle space open. I wanted to add some colors to the leaves, so I've masked out the white border around the die cut. There is a perforation, and so I'd like to mask that out so I have a nice outline around the card. I am ink blending on a piece of cream cardstock because I didn't want a stark white color, and I'm using bundled sage, and I wanted a little bit more dimension, so I'm using frayed burlap in the edges, and I'm kind of pouncing my brush on top just to add color here and there. I just wanted more variation. I always like removing the mask and seeing the kind of clean edge after you take it out. It's really cool to see. I didn't anticipate my scratch paper piece and behind to look so nice, and I thought I would use that as well. I just, because I masked it all and it just came out perfectly as a square, so I thought I would use it. Here's the back side of a card front, and I'm using some antique linen, and I'm just doing the sides to ink blend a little bit to add a little more atmosphere to my card. I'm selecting some sentiments. I'm borrowing them from the Koala Hug stamp set, and I'm going to stamp them in the middle of my panel. And I'm going to be using Frayed Burlap again. I just wanted it to match with the Frayed Burlap that I used for ink blending on the leaves. Distress Oxide ink isn't made for sentiments, but that's why I stamp it as many times as I need to get my desired look. I would rather have the sentiment color match the background than use a black ink. But I do like using black ink a lot, but I just think it looks more streamlined when you match the background to the sentiment color. I'm taking some liquid glue and I'm putting it behind that Leafy cover die cut, and I will adhere it to my card front that has our sentiment. So our background is ready for images, and I always really like this part. I'm just going to use liquid glue to adhere the critters. I just love them. I love how they're just hanging out in this forest. And so what I like to do is I like to place them the way that I want off to the side, just so I know what I'm doing and just so I know that I'm adhering it in the place that I want. And I always take a picture with my cell phone just to have something to refer to when I'm adhering everything down. I just love these cuties. I chose all the ones that were holding the branches, and I think it looks so cute. They are so adorable. I'll have pictures in the end. Here I'm taking those two Leafy die cuts and I'm ink blending them using Gathered Twigs Distress Oxide ink. I'm using this panel piece here that was it was behind when I was ink blending the Leafy die cut, and I think it looks really pretty just like that. So I thought, oh, maybe I'll just use this and see if it works. So I'm taking those two die cuts and then I'll be adhering them there. And right now I'm trying to figuring out the sentiment that I want. I'm using, again, the Koala Hugs stamp set. I'm borrowing the sentiments from that. And then I'll be placing them where I want them. I don't have my images adhered yet. I like to have them there for sentiment placement so I know exactly where to stamp them. So now that I have my placement, I believe I'm using brown ink again just to match my koalas. And I always double stamp everything. I just do that automatically. So now we're going to adhere everything down since our sentiments are stamped out already. And then anytime there is a little agenda stamp and there's one that has balloons, I always have to have them floating. I feel like that's a rule. So we have that guy on the balloons. And then now I'm just adhering everything to the card. I really liked how this came out because I wasn't anticipating using that panel, which it was a piece of scratch paper. I think this was using the Bristol Smooth cardstock, my scratch paper. It was one that I had made a mistake on. And if you flip the other side of that, is like so messy. There's all this ink on it. But I always use the back side of things if it looks clean. I try not to waste paper. I try to use like all of the paper. Now I'm adding a little bit of sparkle with these sparkling clear confettis. I believe they're from Pretty Pink Posh. So now my cards are ready and I'm just adhering them to a card base. And that's it. I'm calling these cards done. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to join me tomorrow. We have the little Kangaroo Agenda, as well as the fun Match Builder Creative Cut Set. Take care, everyone. See you soon. Bye.